Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
This January,
Julie booked a flight and she's coming home.
Rescue High Surf returns.
Are you avoiding me?
That night was fun.
But?
With 10 new episodes full of drama.
What are you doing? She destroyed you.
Heartbreak.
It's always so hard with us.
That's what makes us right.
And explosive twists.
And there's an underwater bomb.
If you're having second thoughts, just tell me.
It's not that simple, Em.
Rescue High Surf returns this January on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
A Bangor woman was sentenced today after pleading guilty to manslaughter for shooting and killing her 24-year-old boyfriend in April. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Devin Dagnall. That guilty plea was entered just this afternoon. Our Grace Blanchard has the details.
After pleading guilty to manslaughter for the death of 24-year-old Daniel Ford Coates, 20-year-old Olivia Babin has been sentenced to 20 years in prison with all but 10 suspended. Babin was accused of fatally shooting Ford Coates on April 2nd at an apartment on Highland Avenue.
She made a choice to take his own legal firearm from him and kill him with it. That was a choice that she made.
In court, Assistant Attorney General Jennifer Ackerman said Babin allegedly obtained Ford Coates' handgun from his bedroom without the magazine to scare him and 2 others. She went on to say that Babin allegedly manipulated it in a way that suggested it was unloaded and held it to his head in a joking manner before pulling the trigger. Ackerman also noted that had the case gone to trial, they would have shown evidence that Babin left the scene to throw the firearm in the Kenduskeag stream and change her clothes before returning to call 911 several minutes after the shooting. Babin addressed members of both her family and Ford Coates' family in court, saying she accepts full responsibility for her actions. Several loved ones of Ford Coates also spoke in court, sharing the impact this loss has had on their lives.
And he never, ever wanted to hurt anyone. He really needed people to be happy around him all the time, laughing, making practical jokes. Like
always laughing.
If he was around, he needed it to be a party. Like he just needed people around him to be happy.
Babin's sentence will also include 6 years of probation pending behavior. Her attorneys declined our request to comment. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
One person died in a crash in Benton on Sunday. A state police spokesperson says it happened about 4:15 p.m. in the area of mile marker 134 northbound on I-95 in Benton. The spokesperson says 20-year-old Isaiah Matthew of Clinton was the only person in the vehicle. He died at the scene. According to the spokesperson, it appears Matthew failed to negotiate a bend in the roadway and struck a guardrail before going into a ditch near the tree line. That crash is still under investigation.
One person died in an early morning crash in Waterville today. Waterville Police Major Jason Longley says officers responded to a single vehicle crash on the Tafton Road near the intersection of the West River Road at about 4:30 a.m. Longley says it appears the driver of a black Jeep Renegade was traveling west when they lost control and the vehicle left the road. The driver died at the scene. The body has been taken to the medical examiner's office in Augusta. Longley says the crash remains under investigation.
Meanwhile, authorities have arrested the driver of a hit-and-run crash in Charleston. The Charleston Fire Department says they responded, along with Mayo Dexter Ambulance and the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office, for a report of a pedestrian that had been struck by a vehicle in the 300th block of the Bradford Road at around 12:50 p.m. The patient was taken to the hospital by ambulance with minor injuries. The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office says deputies patrolled the area and located the suspect vehicle on Dover Road in Charleston. 33-year-old Gary Smith Jr. of Bradford was arrested on an outstanding failure to appear warrant. He was also charged with failing to report a personal injury crash.
Maine Department of Public Safety Commissioner Mike Soschuk says over the past 5 years there have been nearly 600 accidents involving first responders. This morning, state officials gathered in Herman to kick off National Crash Responder Safety Week in Maine. Our Doug Banks has the story.
574. is the approximate number of accidents in Maine involving first responders since around 2019, according to the state's Department of Public Safety.
That's a lot of accidents involving some of our best that are out there trying to do the good work.
It's pretty sobering reality when you're standing on the side of any roadway to see how fast traffic will pass you and how close you will come.
At Dysart's in Herman Monday, Bangor Area Comprehensive Transportation System and Maine DOT, we're joined by top state government and transportation officials to kick off National Crash Responders Safety Week in Maine.
We're asking the public, be aware that we're there, help make sure that we get home safely.
According to Public Safety Commissioner Sawchuk, since being implemented in 2015, Maine's Slow Down Move Over statute has grown over the years to include construction crews and disabled vehicles. And Maine DOT Commissioner Bruce Van Noy spoke to their new Smart Work Zone initiative, which utilizes road sensors and real-time data to let motorists know what's down the road.
When you get the call that someone got killed, and it just happened just earlier this month, there was a hit in Newport. Last month, we had a fatality down in Orland. When you see flashing lights, slow down, move over safely. This isn't rocket science.
To learn more about National Crash Responders Safety Week and how you and others can stay safe on the road, visit foxbangor.com. In Herman, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The Augusta Walmart was evacuated this afternoon after a bomb threat was discovered. Augusta Police Chief Kevin Lully says the threat was communicated through a message left at the store. The incident happened around 12:30. Officers met with Walmart staff who decided to evacuate the store. It was checked and cleared before being reopened. Lully says police are continuing to investigate the terrorizing complaint, and if you have any information, you are asked to contact the Augusta Police Department.
President-elect Donald Trump has wasted no time making cabinet appointments, but some of his choices have already sparked strong criticism. Last week, Trump named Fox News host and former National Guard officer Pete Hegseth as his choice for Secretary of Defense. Hegseth is known to share many of Trump's views, including the removal of what he calls anti-woke generals from the military. Just weeks before being appointed, Hegseth appeared on the Sean Ryan Show podcast, saying, quote, "The dumbest phrase on the planet Earth in the military is our diversity is our strength." Former Congressman and former chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, Mike Michaud, says he understands why some are concerned, but he urges Americans to trust the democratic process.
The government is a big government. It's hard to turn things around on a dime. And it will take a lot of effort, and I know depending on what he does, there'll be a lot of pushback on some of the stuff that he might do.
Cabinet appointments require approval by a simple majority in the Senate, which is currently controlled by Democrats. However, that will change on January 3rd when a new Republican-controlled Congress will be sworn in. The Secretary of State's office has issued an update on a couple of recounts in state legislative races. The recount in the House District 96 race confirmed the election night result. The final recount tally showed Michelle LaJoy with 2,556 votes to Carol Clements 2,517. The recount of the House District 98 race also confirming election night results. The final recount there showed Kilton Webb with 2,996 votes to Guy Labida's 2,941. Meanwhile, the recount for House District 81 has been rescheduled for Wednesday afternoon, and the House District 44 recount will be rescheduled for a later date. Meanwhile, Thursday morning, the House District 141 recount will take place in the morning, and the House District 142 recount in the afternoon. Versant Power has submitted a compliance filing which addresses the management of transmission line ratings. The filing is part of a broader set of compliance actions by various energy companies to align with federal regulations. The compliance order aims to improve the accuracy and transparency of transmission line ratings, which could affect energy distribution and pricing. The filing by Versant Power may lead to changes in how energy is managed and distributed in Maine, and consumers and businesses could experience changes in energy costs or service reliability as a result of these regulatory adjustments. Public comments on the filing are open until December 3rd, 2024.
Alrighty, well, let's hit pause here. We'll peek outside and get a first check of our forecast.
All right, Beth, thank you. Your first weather is brought to you by Old Town Redemption, offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Let's talk weather, and here we are. Look at these highs today. The average high is in the 30s. Nope, not for us. 51 here in Bangor today, 52 for Bar Harbor. We'll do it all over again tomorrow, probably for Wednesday as well. But then some changes are on the horizon. Kind of a windy day, too. A northwest wind gusting near 30 today. We'll likely keep it windy throughout the day tomorrow as well. Thus, a small craft advisory runs through tomorrow evening across our coastlines. All right, here we are. So a couple of sprinkles out there earlier, not a big deal at all. Now high pressure is going to build in for us tonight. A couple of nice days going forward before this thing, and it's a thing, that's going to be in here later on Thursday with some soaking rainfall for Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. Our forecast so for tonight, though, is partly cloudy skies, low temperatures down near 40. Your full forecast is coming up.
Jeff, thank you. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10 to kick off National Apprenticeship Week. The Maine Department of Labor held their first apprenticeship summit.
And thanks to a state-funded program, 2 local fire stations will be able to purchase additional life-saving equipment. Those stories and more local news when we return.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the Twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the Twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
Hey, babe, what's a 5-letter word that starts with PH and ends with NE? Clue is get 4 of these for free with 4 lines for $90 a month at US Cellular.
James, have you tried the 4 free phone flakes? I love these free phone flakes.
Hey, Dad, 4 free phones.
Each serving has 4 free phones.
4 free phones?
Thanks.
Oh.
They're right behind me, aren't they?
Choose 4 free phones and 4 lines for $90 a month. No trade-in needed. US Cellular.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
To Ethan. Ever since we became friends, you've always inspired me to get outside. Even into icy cold water.
I can't feel my legs.
So I got this puffer blanket just for you. Because every hero needs a cape. From Noah.
I'm Carl Ellenberg, Chief of Police.
How'd you even notice that?
Duty calls.
Murder in a Small Town. All new Tuesdays on Fox.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, all the latest from court with a plea and sentencing scheduled for a woman accused of shooting a man to death in Bangor this past April. Plus, we'll hear from emergency responders who gathered at Dysarts on Monday for a press conference. Plus, that cloudy forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Welcome back. More towns are responding to Maine's moderate drought and abnormally dry conditions. The city of Ellsworth is the latest to ban open burning. A notice sent out by the Ellsworth Fire Department earlier today says the ban is in effect until we receive adequate rainfall or the Maine Forest Service lowers the fire class, reducing the fire danger in our area. If you have questions or need further information, you can contact the Ellsworth Fire Department at 667-8666.
Well, 2 local fire stations will receive thousands of dollars of grant money to purchase new equipment. The Sebec and Brownville fire departments will each receive $10,000 through the State Farm Good Neighbor Firefighter Safety Program. According to State Farm, the grants are intended to help local fire departments obtain needed equipment to increase their responders' safety, effectiveness, and ability to serve their communities. State Farm selected 100 recipients across the country, with Sebec and Brownville being the only 2 in Maine.
Well, this week is National Apprenticeship Week, and to kick things off, the Maine Department of Labor held the first ever Maine Apprenticeship Summit at the Augusta Civic Center. The all-day event offered a variety of keynote speakers and breakout groups. The Department of Labor's Director of Apprenticeships and Strategic Partnerships, Joan Dolan, says apprenticeships have been around as long as there has been work to be done. Dolan says this event was a great way for people to network and find apprenticeships in fields they may not have considered.
So the goal of this program, of this summit today, is to celebrate all the success of apprenticeship and help people to know how to do it better.
Well, over 200 people were in attendance. Attendance at the summit, rather. Dolan says, although she doesn't know if the summit will be an annual event, she is almost certain it will return in the future.
Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Israel continues their bombardment into southern Lebanon as the Biden administration is increasing pressure for a ceasefire deal.
And the Pennsylvania Senate race between Republican David McCormick and Democratic incumbent Senator Bob Casey is currently undergoing a statewide recount. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Maine's largest network of parts has more reasons to shop this fall and more ways to keep you warm. Stock up and hit the road with Milwaukee's heated hoodies all winter long at the lowest price guaranteed. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
As a child, you just couldn't keep me out of the puddles. That's where the acorn essentially was planted. As we got started, we had nothing in the bank, we were cash poor. That was just a one-man show. The support of my credit union, starting the business, the banking advice, when you can call them and they're there for you, that's tremendous. It's been a great asset for me and for my company's growth. It's really an exciting time, and my credit union made that possible.
I got hurt in a car accident, but I don't have time to deal with a lawyer.
Sure you do. It's easier than you think to hire Lowry and Associates. Just call the twos.
We can tell you in just a few minutes if you may have a case. And that free call could mean the difference of thousands of dollars for you.
The initial call to Lowry and Associates was just a few minutes, and they settled my case for $150,000.
Hurt in a car accident? I'm your go-to guy.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
The holidays. And holiday trips. And holiday toys. And holiday bonding. And it all comes together in a Chevrolet.
Find your red tag. Get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Or current qualified Chevy lessees can get this Silverado for around $359 a month. Visit your Maine Chevy dealer.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities to bring you closer to the people and places you love. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with the fastest, most reliable internet, you're always front row to the entertainment you love, no matter where you are. Get Spectrum Internet Premier for $30 per month when bundled plus a 3-year price guarantee. Call 1-833-440-0029. Spectrum Internet puts streaming live TV, sports, and popular apps all at your fingertips.
Maine's largest network of parts has more reasons to shop this fall and more ways to keep you warm. Stock up and hit the road with Milwaukee's heated hoodies all winter long at the lowest price guaranteed. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
If you've been injured, call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Israel is ramping up its airstrikes in southern Lebanon as diplomatic efforts to end the conflict continue. It comes as the Biden administration ramps up the pressure on Hamas to reach a ceasefire deal in Gaza. Fox's Alex Holgan has more.
Central Beirut hit by Israeli forces on Monday as the IDF continues its offensive against the Iran-backed group Hezbollah. Another explosion killed a Hezbollah spokesperson on Sunday. Now, diplomatic efforts to end the fighting are ramping up after Lebanese officials reportedly had a positive response to a U.S.-backed ceasefire proposal.
We continue to be engaged with our Israeli counterparts, with the government of Lebanon, with a number of other countries, both in the region and outside the region, to try and reach a resolution.
The potential agreement calls for the IDF to withdraw from Lebanon for at least 60 days. During that time, the Lebanese army would deploy along the border and act as a buffer between Hezbollah and Israel. But a key sticking point continues to be Israel's demand for the right to strike Hezbollah targets if there is a violation of the deal.
The military campaign will continue until the immediate threat from Lebanon is removed.
Meanwhile, the IDF is continuing its offensive in northern Gaza, targeting Hamas positions over the weekend. At the G20 summit in Brazil, President Biden called on his counterparts to pressure Hamas to accept a ceasefire deal.
We're going to keep pushing to accelerate a ceasefire deal that ensures Israel's security but brings hostages home and ends the suffering of the Palestinian people and children.
The IDF says it's making continued efforts to evacuate civilians ahead of the strikes. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
A recount has begun in Pennsylvania after Republican David McCormick beat incumbent Democrat Senator Bob Casey by a slim margin. And now the state's highest court is weighing in on which ballots can be counted. Fox's Connor Hansen has more from New York.
Last week, news outlets like the Associated Press called Pennsylvania's Senate race. Republican challenger David McCormick leads incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Casey by just over 17,000 votes. The margin was tight enough to trigger a recount under state law.
We're going to go through it, and then Dave McCormick is going to be declared the winner.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court had to weigh in, reiterating that counties should not count mail-in ballots that don't have the right date written on the envelope.
Courts get to decide whether a legal requirement is material and must be followed. And the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has spoken clearly on this issue.
Senator Casey still won't concede. In a statement, his campaign said, quote, Senator Casey is fighting to ensure Pennsylvanians' voices are heard and to protect their right to participate in our democracy.
No one's making an argument that there's any kinds of cheating or thing on our side. It's like, hey, we're going to count every last vote.
McCormick's campaign accused some counties of blatantly violating state election law. In a statement, it said, quote, today's ruling is a massive setback to Senator Casey's attempt to count illegal ballots. The chair of one major county election board said provisional ballots were being counted on purpose.
If I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Pennsylvania counties have until next Tuesday to finish the recount. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
The incoming Trump administration says it does not know how much it will cost to carry out its mass deportation plans. Democrats, however, say they're ready to spend their political capital to slow down or stop such an effort. Fox's Mark Meredith has more from Washington.
Tonight, President-elect Trump is vowing on Truth Social to use the full resources of the federal government, including declaring a national emergency and deploying the U.S. military to make good on plans to increase deportations of illegal immigrants.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program.
Tom Homan is the incoming administration's border czar.
Already working on the plan. I'll be going down to Mar-a-Lago this week to put the final touches on the plan. But yeah, we're going to take the handcuffs off ICE.
From the streets of New York to the halls of Capitol Hill, Democrats are vowing to block Trump's plans.
We will be playing a lot of defense, I know, over the next couple of years, protecting our communities, particularly our immigrant communities.
Pew Research estimates there are 11 million illegal immigrants living in the U.S. Trump officials say they plan to prioritize those who pose a risk to public safety for deportation first.
Any caravan that's trying to get into the country now, they're going to be apprehended and sent home.
Democrats on the local and state level are vowing to block any such effort.
I'm going to do everything that I can to protect our undocumented immigrants. They're residents of our state.
On Capitol Hill, top Republicans say they support Trump's plans, which were laid out repeatedly before the election.
This is what the American people have demanded and what they deserve. They want a secure country. They want a secure border, and we will deliver upon that.
The incoming administration expected to also roll back parole options for asylum seekers coming from countries like Cuba, Venezuela, and Haiti. Our latest Fox News voter analysis finds more than 2/3 of voters favor limiting the number of people allowed to apply for asylum. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Well, President-elect Trump won't take office for another 2 months, but that hasn't stopped the two men behind the Department of Government Efficiency, and their top two priorities could include cutting the fat in the federal defense and education budgets. Fox's Jared Halpern has more.
As the second Trump administration ramps up, the newly created Department of Government Efficiency is already getting to work. And now we're getting a better sense of where they'll start looking to make cuts. Vivek Ramaswamy telling Fox over the weekend that the Pentagon budget is due for an overhaul after the Defense Department failed its seventh consecutive audit with some $200 billion unaccounted for.
Nearly $1 trillion of budget. They can't even tell you where it goes. So I think part of this is exposing for the public the extent of that rot and waste.
Also, potentially on the chopping block, the Department of Education. It has been a Trump target for years. He says education policy is better left to local communities. And Ramaswamy suggested if DOGE gets its way, it could be gone for good.
We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated.
But making all those big changes won't be easy. Congress would need to sign off on most, if not all, of the spending cuts. And some experts are questioning whether it would even be legal to allow an outside agency like DOGE to examine the classified defense budget.
How can you look at the Defense Department or the intelligence community and say find out where the fat is and where you should cut and all those good things without a security clearance?
Ramaswamy and his DOGE co-leader, Elon Musk, are also working under a deadline. President-elect Trump says the commission will conclude its work by July 4th, 2026. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, a family-friendly holiday event is rolling into Maine this Friday.
And in sports, Maine football closes the season with the battle for the Bryce Cowell Musket on Saturday. Hear what head coach Jordan Stevens had to say this morning when we come right back.
All rise.
How does the defendant plead?
I have to do this.
No, you don't.
Accused, all new, Tuesdays at 9 on Fox.
Find the perfect truck for your fall adventures at Quirk locations statewide. Get the power you need with Ram 2500 Laramie. Haul it all and save $15,000. Tailgating looks better in a GMC. Save $11,531 on Sierra 1500 SLE. And for all your fall cleanup needs, lease the reliable Ford F-150 for $399 per month. For certified pre-owned trucks, visit our Quirk Motor City used vehicle centers in Augusta, Bangor, Belfast, Portland, and Rockland. It's your truck. Find it at Quirk statewide.
The marathon of life can be challenging. Chores and responsibilities keep us from the things we once loved and the aspirations we set. But it's never too late to find your second wind. With an affordable, fully online program and advisors to help you along the way, you can cross the finish line at your own pace. Finish strong at the University of Maine.
Come see us at R&K Variety in Hamden. R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily, we offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, our famous lasagna, or one of our savory soups, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after work? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
Need your car fixed? You got somebody. Need your roof repaired? You got somebody. Need electrical work? Here's your somebody. The team at Ideal Energy Solutions is ready to tackle anything electrical in your home. From upgrading your service to handle today's appliances and heat pumps to whole house wiring, Ideal Energy Solutions is your somebody. Contractors for residential and commercial work. Don't settle for less than ideal. Go with Ideal Energy Solutions. Call today.
Darling's Auto Group is growing. Van Sickle Kia on Hogan Road in Bangor is now part of the Darling's family of dealerships. Whether you're shopping for an all-wheel drive, gas, EV, hybrid, or plug-in hybrid, Darling's Kia has a full lineup to choose from. With zero-down programs available on award-winning Kias and a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Visit us today. You'll do better at Darling's.
Temperatures are dropping and people in the mountains of North Carolina are about to face their first winter while still recovering from Hurricane Helene. Fox's Chelsea Torres is in Pensacola, North Carolina with the latest.
Gas stations are hard to come by in the mountains because some have been wiped out from Helene. But there are a few fuel hubs, like the one behind me, offering free gas for anyone that needs it. The nonprofits supplying the fuel are also doing home deliveries for people that need help to heat their homes.
We lost our house. Thankfully, we were donated a beautiful fifth wheel and a vehicle.
The Keels depend on this fuel station to keep their generators alive. Other families need oil to heat their homes this winter, but it's tough to find.
The only gas station that serves kerosene fuel literally washed down the river.
Ron DeJean with Western Carolina Emergency Network partnered with other nonprofits, supplying makeshift fuel stations and driving the fuel to people like Amy Webb.
It would be very cold if we didn't have fuel here.
Volunteers sift through hundreds of messages on social media from people needing fuel. The volunteers then make a route and drive house to house, filling up fuel tanks for free.
That's awesome. They're hurting, so by us being able to fund these needs, they're able to buy food or, pay their mortgage.
Being able to save money on fuel is going to help us be able to buy the things that we need and help our grandchild. He's autistic.
Fuel goes a long way in the recovery process. One nonprofit that has construction equipment just received 1,500 gallons of fuel. That equipment is going to help clear roadways and clear out mud in a lot of people's homes. The Western Carolina Emergency Network says over 57,000 gallons of fuel have already been donated to people in need, and they're saying they need more donations and volunteers to keep this going. In Pensacola, North Carolina, Chelsea Torres, Fox News.
As we look ahead to Thanksgiving, many families in Maine are giving thanks for local food pantries, and that includes teens and college students. Brad Rogers shows us two programs providing much-needed food to students facing food insecurity.
A lot of my friends and the people that I know deal with food insecurity a lot.
Christina Roscoe is a student at Southern Maine Community College.
Any of the money that I have is pretty much going to my payment for the dorms right now.
She also volunteers at Captain's Cupboard, a food pantry on campus serving as many as 500 students a month, many of them commuters.
They're commuting and they don't have the money to rent an apartment and car payments and food, especially usually a lot of people have to choose between one or the other.
We do our best to try to be accommodating for everyone that we can.
Clara Thompson works at Captain's Cupboard.
We've been getting a lot more people recently. Food is very essential. I went through a lot of food insecurity, so I know how important it is.
Captain's Cupboard gets most of its food from the Good Shepherd Food Bank, Wayside Food Programs, and South Portland Food Cupboard.
We do fresh produce, eggs, milk, meats.
Director Dwayne Hopkins says over the last year, dozens more people have been coming here for food on a regular basis.
Seniors, veterans, single-family homes, our recipients leave here in tears of joy and just thrilled that they're able to receive the kind of food that we give.
Wayside Food Programs plans to deliver 700 Thanksgiving meals next week to those in need, along with 100 turkeys and all the trimmings for 100 families to cook their own Thanksgiving dinner.
This week is really critical to get those turkeys to us so we can get them out so people can prepare them.
Nearly all the food you see here has been donated by local food chains, and those donations have remained steady. What's changed, though, is the demand, which continues to go up.
Food is an extra. People have to pay rent, they have to buy medication, they have to pay for transportation. Food is one of those things that people say, well, I can do with a little less of it today, or I can skip dinner tomorrow and save a few bucks. So I'm sure that's what's going on with a lot of the students.
Food for thought.
Can't really function well without a full meal.
Well, Maine's dairy industry is suggesting higher taxes on things like cigarettes and marijuana to help them survive. A preliminary report from the Maine Dairy Task Force focuses a lot on funding for the Dairy Stabilization Program. That offers a subsidy of sorts when the price of milk falls below a set cost of production. The Maine Dairy Industries Association president, who was also on the task force, says the program would work even better if farmers knew it was fully funded. To do that, the group suggests looking at more consistent and dedicated funding sources like higher taxes on marijuana and tobacco, or using more gambling revenue to help cover any funding gaps.
We are an integral part of the agricultural industry, the agricultural landscape of this state, and it's would be a real shame to see any more farms have to go out of business because of, the low prices for milk.
This is just a preliminary report. The deadline for public comment is Friday. A final report is due to lawmakers by early January, who will have the final say.
HHS Secretary Javier Becerra toured a damaged factory that makes critical hospital supplies on Monday. He discussed ways to keep supply lines open following Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Fox's Mark Meredith has more from Washington.
Federal officials say Hurricane Helene was not only deadly, but also notably disruptive to the country's healthcare system. In North Cove, North Carolina, the storm severely disrupted Baxter Healthcare's main factory, where 60% of the country's IV fluids are made. Government officials say after weeks of delays, the company's operations are back online.
This is the first day that they're rolling out. Good news. But we still have providers out there who are aching to get more shipments.
Officials call the factory crucial to keeping America's hospitals running. And while things are now returning to normal, some medical facilities are preparing for shortages and warning of possible service disruptions. Health advocates urge the White House to shore up new supplies of IV fluids and bags.
Where and when they can, they reduce IV fluid usage. If the patient's able to drink rather than having an IV, they're doing it.
The administration says it responded by invoking the Defense Production Act to streamline manufacturing and delivery processes and set up a series of resupply flights aiming to get hospital inventories back to normal by the end of this year.
We got your back. We're going to do everything we can. I know that President Biden sent word down to all of us. We do this as a team.
The FDA says as of now, there are 9 critical IV fluids in short supply, including those used for dialysis. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
All right, and when we come back, we have our full 5-day forecast.
Stay with us.
Some high temperatures back in the 50s again. Today we'll do it again tomorrow and also for Wednesday and Thursday. But there is a lot of rain in the 5-day forecast. I'll tell you when I come back.
Lagoons Transportation and Energy, located in Osborne, provides limited propane services to eastern and central Maine, including but not limited to tank recertification, cage accounts, cylinder exchanges, and more. Lagoons also offers Lignetics premium wood pellets available for delivery.
Have you ever felt like you could disappear?
From the composers of The Greatest Showman,
And no one would hear.
Dear Evan Hansen. Don't miss your chance to see one of the most remarkable shows in musical theater history. The groundbreaking, Tony Award-winning Dear Evan Hansen.
You'll be found.
New Englanders know that for towing, hauling, plowing, your New England Ford dealers are your truck headquarters. For a full lineup that can handle any kind of job, in any kind of weather, Ford F-Series, including F-150 and Super Duty, America's best-selling trucks for 47 straight years. And when you buy a commercial truck by December 31st, you could pick up some big savings come tax time. Now get 4.9% APR for 72 months on Ford Super Duty, only at your New England Ford dealers.
25 words or less.
Wallpaper.
We have 30,000 ways to thank our loyal fans.
I love watching people win money that's not mine.
Win one of 3 $10,000 cash prizes.
Courtroom leader, the judge.
By watching from home and scanning our QR code.
You just won the game, guys!
It's the 30K Thanks-A-Rama giveaway.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22. Lagoons Transportation and Energy, located in Osborne, provides limited propane services to eastern and central Maine, including but not limited to tank recertification, cage accounts, cylinder exchanges, and more. Lagoons also offers Lignetics premium wood pellets available for delivery.
Oh, here we go.
Season 12! She could sing.
The Masked Singer, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
Here we go. Your full weather is brought to you by Old Town Redemption, offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. We're talking weather now, and look at the highs today. 51 here in Bangor, 49 Millinocket. A very comfortable day. The average high temperature this time of year is in the upper 30s. We are all above that today and tomorrow, and for Wednesday and Thursday, probably Friday as well, as we're building heat across the west again, and some of that's heading in our direction. So winter is at bay for now, right? A gusty, windy day too, the northwest near 25 miles per hour, giving us really kind of wind gusts near 30 throughout the afternoon. We're going to keep the wind going through tomorrow, probably into Wednesday as well, between weather systems now. Thus, a small craft advisory out there as well, likely lingering through tomorrow evening before it comes down tomorrow night. Wave heights out here approaching 4 to 8 feet, likely lingering into Wednesday afternoon. All right, today, so lots of partly cloudy skies throughout the day today. There were a couple of sprinkles earlier, not a big deal. This is falling apart. And then high pressure is building in for us for now, but that's going to give way eventually, just not yet, right? So here we are with high pressure building in for tomorrow, and then also for us on Wednesday, although Wednesday probably more clouds across the region. And then really for Thursday, increasing clouds courtesy of this system over here. That is a thing across the west right now, across the plains. Look at this, right? Eye candy for meteorologists. Here we go. Well, a part of this is going to be in our neck of the woods late Thursday into Friday as a slow moving weather system that has a lot of moisture, likely giving us a soaking rainfall late Thursday, more so Friday into Saturday. So a wet weekend is on the way for us. Tonight, though, no issues at all. Looking at partly cloudy skies tonight, throughout the day tomorrow as well. So overall, kind of a nice stretch of weather tomorrow with those partly cloudy skies. Probably some more kind of clouds in the area, though, for Thursday, too, before our next weather system gets in here Thursday night. And that's going to bring us that soaking rainfall later Thursday into Friday. And again, many locations could see up to an inch of rainfall plus later Thursday into Friday. So here we go once again with the soaking rainfall, and we could use the rain, as you know. Of course, here's the drought monitor. Much of the country level 1 and 2 drought conditions, for us too included in here. So a rainfall on the way for us late Thursday and Friday and Saturday is a good thing for our state going forward. Our forecast then for tonight, though, is lots of clouds out there, still a bit breezy. Look for low temperatures down near 37 with that northwest wind gusting near 20 for tomorrow. All right, so lots of sunshine tomorrow, still breezy. That northwest wind would gust near 30, making that 52 feel a bit colder tomorrow, but still 52, right? And then looking ahead, your 5-day forecast shows tomorrow some sunshine, 52. Wednesday, more clouds, 53. Thursday, so most of Thursday is going to stay dry, and then rain showers later Thursday evening, lingering throughout the night into Friday, and then probably into Saturday as well. That rain could be locally heavy on Thursday into Friday, with high temperatures Friday in the 50s, falling back into the low 40s on Saturday.
Sports is next with Tyler Cruz.
Hey babe, what's a 5-letter word that starts with PH and ends with NE?
James, have you tried the 4 free phone flakes?
Dad, 4 free phones.
4 free phones?
Thanks. Choose 4 free phones and 4 lines for $90 a month. No trade-in needed. U.S. Cellular.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
The brand new Chung Lee Chinese restaurant, located in the Waterville Concourse, offers truly delicious, authentic cooking with the best poo-poo platter in the area. Lunch specials and dinner combinations available for dine-in, takeout, and delivery.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
Fox College Football Friday and Big Noon Saturday kick off a whole new era of college football.
I cannot wait for this game.
With new matchups, historic rivalries, and brand new conference clashes.
Listen to this crowd come alive.
The Big Ten,
whoa,
Big 12,
unbelievable,
and Mountain West are hitting Friday and Saturday harder than ever.
Monstrous hit.
This is the season we've all been waiting for. College football on Fox.
U.S. Cellular has the incredible new iPhone 16 Pro.
The first iPhone built for Apple Intelligence.
Spread the word.
And don't forget camera control. It'll blow you away.
Get the new iPhone 16 Pro on us. No trade-in needed. U.S. Cellular, built for us.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Hamlin's Marine, located in Hamden and Waterville, celebrating 40 years, serving all of eastern and central Maine.
It all comes down to this weekend. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Maine football season comes to a close this Saturday in Orono with the battle for the Bryce Cowell Musket. The Black Bears hosting New Hampshire this Saturday at Alphons Stadium at 1 p.m. for the classic rivalry match. Maine is now 5-6 on the season after a tough road loss to Elon. They have the chance to finish with a .500 record and win the Musket back for the first time in the Jordan Stevens era. But with the big game ahead, Stevens says their focus is all on the Wildcats.
When you look at this game, this is a program goal of ours. I think it comes down to getting our guys focused and prepared and ready to play and stay in process, stay focused in on one play at a time. And no matter what happens, just getting to the next play. You know, this is a game that demands mental toughness, even more so because of some of the emotions involved. So trying to just keep those in check, keep those measured, and knowing that, ultimately it's going to come down to who executes the best.
All right, like we said, that game kicks off at 1 p.m., and if you aren't going, you can watch it right here on ABC 7. Staying with some football, the high school season also coming to a close on Saturday, unless you're Portland or Deering. They play on Turkey Day with the 11-man Gold Ball games. Class A and B Gold Ball games will be hosted at Fitzpatrick Stadium in Portland. The North champ Portland, after defeating Bangor last week, will play Thornton Academy for the Class A Gold Ball. Falmouth out of the North in Class B, they will play Kennebunk. At Donru Field in Lewiston, the Herman Hawks will play for the Class C Gold Ball. They take on the South champs from Freiburg, and Foxcroft Academy from the North looks to avenge last year's state championship loss to Wells in Class D. All games at 11 a.m. and 2:30. All right, let's talk some hockey now. Maine hockey is once again a top 5 team in the nation. The Black Bears ranked 5th in the country after a win and a tie against Boston University at the Alphon this weekend. Maine won Friday night 5-2 after opening a 4-0 lead over the Terriers. They led 2-1 in the final minute of Game 2, but BU tied the game Saturday and forced overtime. The Terriers would win in the shootout. Maine hits the road this weekend. They also take on UNH in the border battle. That is on Friday at 7 p.m., and that game is on Nesson. All right, on the subject of the Black Bears, America East individual cross-country champion Luke Marsanskis is heading to the national championship race. Some footage here of his conference victory a few weeks ago. Marsanskis, the Cumberland, Maine native, is the first Black Bear to qualify for the NCAA championship in over 10 years. He placed 7th in the NCAA D1 Northeast Regional with a time of 30 minutes and 7 seconds for the 10K race. He heard his name called in the selection show on Saturday. He will compete this Saturday morning at 11:10 a.m. in Wisconsin. That event is on ESPNU. Congratulations to him. Moving on now, Maine women's basketball falling to Harvard 83-41 on Sunday at home following 26 turnovers. And afterwards, Coach Amy Vachon offering a message to fans post-game. Vachon seemingly apologizing to fans in a post on X, formerly Twitter. First congratulating the Crimson, then following by saying Black Bear Nation, and specifically the 1,144 people there Sunday, deserve better. She finishes by saying, "We will be better." Later, going on, would say that we equals coaches and players. Maine is back in action on Thursday at Boston University. All right, staying with some hoop now. It was a big week for Maine's favorite Duke star, Cooper Flagg. The freshman was named the Atlantic Coast Conference's Rookie of the Week after he averaged 17 points, 10 boards, 4 assists, and 2 blocks across 2 games. He shined in a loss to Kentucky in the Champions Classic with a 26-point double-double, 11 rebounds to go along with it, and stuffed the stat sheet with 8 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in a win against Wofford. That's a busy night for him. Flagg and Duke have another big matchup on ESPN2. That is this Friday night against number 17, Arizona. Finally, down in Foxborough, the Patriots falling to 3-8 on Sunday with a crushing 28-22 loss at the hands of Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams. New England's defense allowing 4 passing touchdowns from Stafford in this one, but rookie quarterback Drake May held his own with the former Super Bowl champ. The Patriots offense hanging around really until the end, behind 282 yards from May and 2 touchdowns. However, much like their loss to the Titans a few weeks ago, a late interception from May sealed the Patriots' fate. That's something he'll need to work on, but nonetheless, the Pats offense showing signs of progress week by week.
I never really felt like they had control of the game. I felt like we had control of the game. We have no talent in our locker room to be a very good football team. We just got to be able to put it together.
I think week to week, I think we're getting better. Proud of those guys up front for battling, and you're able to run the football pretty good at times today. Just little things that I think down there in the red zone we got to capitalize on.
The Pats head to Miami next Sunday to play the Dolphins. That kickoff is at 1 p.m. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
It's Renewal by Anderson's Black Friday doorbuster with unprecedented savings on custom-built replacement windows. Our exclusive Fibrex composite material won't warp or bow and never needs painting, making it vastly superior to vinyl. Our windows are custom-built in the USA, installed with precision and care, backed by the nation's best warranty, and now more affordable than ever. Call today. These massive Black Friday savings and financing end soon. Don't miss out. Call and schedule your free design consultation today.
We've got a 100-year-old company here, and it's because of the service, the quality, and the experience. It gets done right.
I think we've been doing it for so long. The only thing that we do, that when we walk into a room, we automatically know how to treat that window. We can take any product that the customer's looking for and make it work in just about any situation that they present us with. So
there's no reason to be overwhelmed. No. We can help you through it.
We're not going anywhere. We've been around for 100 years.
Hammond Lumber Company has been a trusted partner of professional contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners for generations. It's the level of trust that Hammond Lumber has earned by providing an extensive selection of products and materials from industry-leading suppliers with guidance and support through every stage of any project, including delivery of materials throughout Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company is, has been, and will always be your building project partner.
When it comes to the feud,
name a way a woman might say she likes her men and her cheese.
You either nail it,
Sharp,
spicy, or fail it.
full of adventure.
When you're at the grocery store, you want to find some adventurous cheese running around the dairy section.
Family Feud.
Where are you going? Stop all this adventure.
Weeknights at 7 on Fox 22.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Talented head chefs, right?
Big egos mean big blow-ups for Gordon.
Where is the passion?
Hell's Kitchen head chefs only. All new Thursdays on Fox.
While turkey is typically the talk of Thanksgiving, this year the price of all that food will be a hot topic as well. In an attempt to steer bargain shoppers their way, several big retailers are hoping their big deals can take a bite out of all that cost. Fox's Sue Guzman reports.
The average cost of turkey is down about 12% this year compared to last. Stubborn inflation can still be seen on price tags across grocery stores nationwide.
Can't catch a break.
Meaning there may be more financial gripes than gobbles this Thanksgiving. Counting pennies can be exhausting, and many shoppers have had enough of the mental math, especially after food costs have spiked roughly 23% over the past 3 years.
Because, you have other bills.
To try to entice folks to brave the sticker shock this season, many retailers are offering combo deals on holiday dinner staples. Walmart's kit has 29 items and includes a turkey and ingredients for sides. It's advertised to serve 8 people for less than $7 a serving. Target is going smaller, selling a 4-person bundle with a turkey, stuffing mix, and canned beans and cranberry sauce, all for $20.
Shop around, look for the deals.
Some economists recommend buying more off-brand labels, citing how some larger retailers have expanded their selections after seeing more shoppers make the switch. You still want to look at the prices, though. Researchers at Wells Fargo's Agri-Food Institute found most name-brand cranberry sauces were less costly than store brands.
If you're putting together a table with lots of dishes, buy the store brand potatoes, buy the store brand vegetables.
Meanwhile, what you drink can also drain your wallet. You can save even more money by not purchasing non-essential items like alcohol that can jack up your overall bill. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Well, anyone looking to check some items off their holiday shopping list this weekend can visit the Eastern Area Agency on Aging's Holiday Craft Fair. The fair is returning to the agency's Durgan Center in Brewer for a third year. The event will feature 20 local vendors showcasing unique handmade crafts and more. All the proceeds raised will benefit programs offered at the center, which aim to provide engagement opportunities for older adults in the community.
This is a center to bring people together, to find joy, to find happiness, to find connection. And this is kind of a way to bring in money to help offset those costs.
The craft fair will run from 10 to 2 on Saturday. There is a $2 door entry fee, and for more information, you can visit our website, foxbangor.com.
Well, a holiday tradition will be rolling into Maine this Friday. The Canadian Pacific Holiday Train will have 2 shows in Maine on Friday, November 22nd. The first show will be at the Canadian Pacific Rail Yard in Brownville at 5 p.m. and the later show will be at the Canadian Pacific Rail Yard in Jackman at 9:30 p.m. Both shows will feature musical guests James Barker Band and Clairol. The shows are free, but attendees are encouraged to bring donations of cash or non-perishable food items for local food banks. A live train tracker is available at cpkcr.com/holidaytrain.
Well, finally tonight, West Market Square in Bangor is always bustling with people enjoying a leisurely walk or shoppers looking to maybe grab a bite to eat. It's also where the city's Christmas tree is proudly displayed each year. But whatever happened to the city's East Market Square? Our Jody Hersey went to find out.
I don't know too many people who probably call it East Market Square now.
When the streets of Bangor were first created centuries ago, there was an east side and a west side of the city, divided by the Kenduskeag Stream. Longtime Bangor historian Dick Shaw says the city of Bangor's landscape was forever changed by the Great Fire of 1911.
Most people know downtown, the heart of downtown, but on the other side of town, barely, was East Market Square, and that was really ravaged. The fire tore through there, and after the fire, the big building behind me, which was originally a post office, interrupted a park.
Harlow Street, Park Street, and State Street that make a triangle around where the Bangor City Hall building stands today is where East Market Square once existed. The fire of 1911 destroyed that park and wiped out 267 homes and more than 100 businesses.
Since we lost our post office, we needed a federal building, and after a little bit of time, they decided that that little parcel where City Hall is today was going to be that location, so we kind of lost our park.
Shaw and Bishop say old pictures and postcards show East Market Square was a hub for concerts, political speeches, and firemen's musters.
Just seeing the maps just to see how the city has expanded, changed over the years is really fascinating, but also those things like West Market Square still are there today.
Shaw says it's unfortunate East Market Square is no longer a part of the city.
I think we might have lost a little bit of community flavor when the park disappeared, but that's progress, I guess.
In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
So a bit of history for us there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So cool to see that, to finally find out what happened to West Market Square.
It'd be neat to maybe zhuzh it back up and make
Right.
it another little hub, another fun, intersection that with some highlights to it and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All right. So ordered. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. From everybody here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great night.
We'll see you later.
Start your day with Good Morning Maine.
Weekday mornings starting at 6 on Fox 22.
What's up, guys? What I'm about to show you is going to change the way you shave your head forever.
You can shave your head in 90 seconds or less
with no cuts or nicks.
Introducing Remington's new and improved Balder Boss. With increased flex and 5 dual-track floating head design, get over 60% more head coverage for a faster, closer shave and skin-close results. And only through this exclusive TV offer, now you can try it in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. Balder Boss is the fast, easy, safe way to shave your head, wet or dry, in 90 seconds or less, without nicks or cuts.
No nicks, no scrapes. Fit in the palm of my hand, and the results were amazing.
The 360-degree pivoting neck contours closely around your head curves for maximum contact, anytime, anywhere, in 90 seconds or less. With exclusive Wet Tech technology, shave in the shower, or with any foam or gel. Japanese-grade steel blades and turbo power plow through the thickest of hair, yet gentle enough it won't irritate skin. With pure lithium power that lasts up to an incredible 60 minutes. That's like 1 full month of use without a recharge. Then easily rinses clean. There's even a pop-up trimmer to complete your perfect groom. Now you can try the Remington Balder Boss in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. But wait, order now and we'll ship it to you absolutely free. You can also get our ear, nose, and brow trimmer for the ultimate groom. Free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Every Balder Boss comes with a 5-year limited warranty where durability is guaranteed, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't absolutely love it, send it back, but keep the trimmer as our gift just for trying.
I got a clean, nice, smooth shave in under 90 seconds. No nicks, no cuts.
So order now.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.